closer you look, the less you see. Now that sounds backwards, right? But it might explain why so many people feel stuck, stressed, and convinced that life is just against them. But most of the time, the problem isn't life. Sometimes, it's just what you keep looking at.
Now this is all going to make sense in a second, but take a look at the road behind me and count how many red cars there are. You got a number in your head? Perfect. Now without going back, could you tell me how many black cars you saw? See, you wouldn't be able to tell me, right? And me asking that question seems, a bit unfair, because if I were to ask you originally how many black cars were there and count them, you would have been able to tell me. Because when I asked you about red cars, your brain immediately locked in. You didn't focus on anything else except from red cars going past. What if life works the same? If you look for problems, you're going to find them. Something to complain about, something to feel behind on, something to feel angry, and we all fall for the same thing. When a problem arises, we focus only on that problem. And what's that going to do? Make the problem bigger. We're going to get anxious. We're going to get depressed. We're only going to be looking for problems to the point where all we see is problems. But what if you were supposed to be looking for something else? A result, a solution. Because we know if you focus on a problem, you will find more problems. So why not, if you're focusing on a solution, will you not find a solution? It's just like skiing down a mountain. Now let me explain. Now the reason I compared it to skiing is because if you're skiing down a mountain and you need to get down to the bottom and that whole mountain is just full of trees, there's two ways you can look about going down there. One, you can have in your mind that you can't hit a tree. So you're thinking, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree. Or number two, you could be thinking, I can't hit a tree, so I need to focus on the gaps. So you'll be saying, go through the gaps, go through the gaps, go through the gaps, go through the gaps. Repeating this in your mind. Now, which one do you think made it down the mountain? Because if you're in your mind saying, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, don't hit a tree, your mind and your vision, all they're focusing on is the trees. So if you're trying to make it down the mountain and all you're looking at is trees that you don't want to hit, you're eventually going to hit a tree. But for the second person who said go through the gaps, all he's looking for is gaps that he can fit through. He's not focusing on the things that are going to take him out. He's focusing on the solution to get down to the bottom of the mountain. And he does. So maybe you watching a video, the red car theory wasn't for you. But that skiing one makes you actually realize that if you focus on a problem, you will find problems. And I'm not saying you're not going to get problems in your life. But if you do have a problem, instead of focusing on the fact that you have a problem, you need to be going down the route of looking for a solution. And eventually, that problem will go, you'll find a solution, and you'll be in a better place than you were before.
Sometimes we zoom in so hard on one issue, money, one rejection, one mistake, one bad comment, or maybe one person leaving your life, that it eventually fills the whole screen. But you lose the wider picture. You stop noticing what's still working. Your health, your progress, the lessons you've learned and gained, how far you've already come. Because the closer you look, the less you see. Now, I'm not saying ignore reality, because problems exist. Pain exists. Hard seasons you're gonna have to go through. But what you put your attention to is powerful. What you train your mind to notice grows. If you look for pain and problems, you're gonna find it. If you look for proof that you're failing, you're gonna find that as well. But if you look for opportunity, growth, gratitude, momentum, you'll find that too. What you need to do as someone who wants more than the average person, instead of focusing on problems and finding bad things in your life, you need to focus on solutions, things to be grateful for, and things to move your life forward.
Now, if you've felt that you're not making the progress you want to, that you're not making the right decisions, and yet you are facing a lot of problems within your business and personal life, use this and think maybe what's going on isn't problems, but what you're focusing on. So I put it to everybody that's watching this video today. Instead of focusing on something bad and a problem that you're facing, focus on a solution, or finding a solution, or your dream life, whatever it may be that keeps you disciplined to make the right decisions to move forward with progress. Because you may be sat there working hard, putting in the hours, not getting sleep, whatever it may be that you're sacrificing to get to where you need to be. But because you're focusing so much on problems, it's not going to work. I have this tattoo on my arm. Believe until you become. And it's so relevant to today's video. What you believe becomes your reality. So if you constantly believe that there's problems in your life, that you're not going to be able to get through what you're going through right now, that will be your reality. But if you believe in yourself, that you can find the answer to your problems, you can find the solution to your problems, you can focus on your dream life and the way that you're going to get there, even if you may not have a plan, if you have that belief every single day, most of the time, you will be able to become the person that you want to be, to achieve the life that you want. So, stop focusing on your problems and something bad that's going on in your life, but focus on rather the solution that's going to get you out of there. Because the closer you look, the less you will see.